In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way. It was a quote said by Franklin D. Roosevelt. Hello everyone and welcome to this insightful journey through the political maze of world's largest democracy, India. Politics in India is not just a system, it's a daily soul, a newsroom debate, a family dinner conversation, and for some, a full-time hobby. But beneath the drama lies a series of real world shaping the trends of destiny of over 1.4 billion people. Today, we'll explore the key political trends that define Indian politics from post-independence ideologies to digital age governance, era of Congress dominance from 1947 to 1990. After India gained independence in 1947, the INC emerged as dominant political force. Having the lead from freedom struggle against the colonial rule, it had massive popular support and a strong grassroots network. This gave it a head start in shaping the new Indian nation. Now, why Congress dominated? Freedom movement legacy. Congress was seen as the party that brought Indian freedom. Its leaders, especially Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Patel, and Maulana Azad, were national heroes. Charmistic leadership. Nehru's vision for modern secular and democratic India resonated many. His leadership helped stabilize the new republic. And the next point is lack of opposition. In the early decades, opposition parties were either weak, divided, or regionally focused. Congress faced no serious national challenge. Next is institution building. Congress saw the drafting of the constitution and integration of princely states and the setting up of key institutions like Election Commission, Planning Commission, IITs and more. Next we have the victories that why Congress dominated. In the first general election in 1952, Congress won and out of 489 seats, Congress has a majority of the votes which is 364 seats in the Lok Sabha. This trend continued in subsequent election, also in 1957 election and 1962 election. Congress secured majority seats very comfortably. Then the rise of dynastic political system. With unchecked power came centralization and eventually personalization of power, especially around the Nehru-Gandhi family has came. Also, the developments during Jawaharlal Nehru as the India's first Prime Minister. Nehru set the tone of Congress for the country, but the time of his death, the seeds of the personality-centric party has been sown. After him, when Indira Gandhi came to power from 1966 to 1977, Nehru's daughter was appointed Prime Minister amid political fighting and soon consolidated power, sidelining internal party's democracy. She split the party in 1969, creating Congress R, which later became the main faction. Her tenure saw authorization tendencies, most notably the emergency from 1975 to 77. Then Rajiv Gandhi in 1984 to 1989. After Indira Gandhi's assassination, Rajiv Gandhi quickly became Prime Minister, continuing the family legacy. This pattern of political succession within families set a precedential not just a Congress but across India politics. Today, many parties, regional and national, shows traces of dynastic leadership including Samajwadi Party, which is of Yadav family, DMK, Karunidhi family, Shiv Sena, Thackeray family and RJD, Lalu Yadav's family. Now, legacy of Congress era. Strengths and criticisms, let's discuss about it. Strengths are nation building, institutional development, unity in diversity, and criticisms is over centralization, dynastic politics, complemency, lack of internal democracy. After the era of Congress dominance, we can see rise of coalition politics from 1990 to 2014. From 1990 onwards, Indian politics witnessed a dramatic transformation. The era of Congress dominance faded, and in its place came an era of coalition, compromises, and shifting alliances. This period was marked by frequent changes in government, increasing power of regional leaders, and identity-based politics. Now, what triggered the shift? Firstly, is economic crisis. In 1991, India faced a balance of payment crisis, leading to economic liberalization. Under Finance Minister Manmohan Singh in the Narasimha Rao government, which is Congress party. These reforms changed the nature of politics, opening space for new businesses, interests, new class, middle class demands and non-Congress party. Second cause for the trends of the shift is decline of Congress. In 1989, Congress lost its majority for the first time since independence. The Beaufort scandals, anti-Sikh riots, and growing public anger hurt the party's credibility. Rise of identity and caste-based mobilization. The Mandal Commission report implemented in 1990 gave 27% reservation to other backward classes OBC, a game changer. Triggered rise of OBC based on regional parties, Samajwadi Party, Janata Dal, Rashtriya Janata Dal, Bahujan Samaj Party. Key events and data points. Frequent Prime Minister changes. From 1996 to 1999, 3 Prime Ministers have been changed. Firstly was Atal Bihari Vajpayee, who was in power for 13 days in May 1996. BJP was the single largest party but couldn't get majority support. Second Prime Minister was H.D. Deve Gowda, who's from 1996 to 1997. Backed by the United Front, a group of 13 parties with Congress support from outside. Next is I.K. Gujral, who ruled from 1777 to 1998, took over the Congress, withdrew support from Deve Gowda. Fun fact confirmed, which was 3 Prime Ministers in 3 years. You can see how low the government power was. Next is major political trends, rise of regional parties. When we are in a coalition government, we can see the rise of different regional parties. First was DMK, which was from Tamil Nadu, TDP, Andhra Pradesh, SP, Uttar Pradesh, BSP, Uttar Pradesh, Shiv Sena, Maharashtra, Akali Dal, Punjab, and JDU, Bihar. These parties became kingmakers in forming central government. From United Front from 1996 to 1998, a coalition of 13 parties, to NDA from 1998 to 2004 led by BJP under Vajpayee, from UPA 2004-2014 led by Congress under Manmohan Singh. Now what is electoral validity under these? In 1996, no party had majority. BJP got 161 seats, Congress 140. In 1998, BJP-led NDA formed a government with 225 seats. In 1999, BJP-led NDA returned stronger with 270 plus seats. In 2004, Congress-led UPA took power with 145 seats with outside support. In 2009, UPA won 206 seats, most by any party since 1991. The Modi era and the centralization of power has came in the power since 2014 to present day. In 2014, India witnessed a political earthquake. Narendra Modi, riding the wave of anti-incumbency and strong messaging, led BJP to an absolute majority of first in 30 years. Shift from coalition to one-party dominance has again came to power. Rise of brand Modi, a blend of populism, nationalism and a digital charmism. Strong focus on central leadership and image control. BJP won 303 seats in 2019 general election, a historical win reaffirming the trends of central leadership dominance. Also, the use of technology and social media in election reached a new heights. From memes to AI-generated speech, electronically went digital. In 80s, I guess politicians shook hands, but in 2024, they shook algorithms. Just a joke. Ideological polarization and nationalism. Modern Indian politics has seen a growing left versus right divide. More accurately, liberal versus nationalist. We are all seeing this going on our daily life. There is a visible tilt towards right-wing nationalism with slogans like Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and a new kind of nationalism that often overlaps with religious and cultural identity. This trend has also led to more contentious debates around minority rights, secularism, and freedom of speech. A slogan has came, not a slogan, but a title came with us or against us, which means either you can be with the dominant party or you are against it. You have no right to be liberal, to be neutral. This polarization can sometimes overshadow critical issues like jobs, education, and healthcare because the main focus of the present government is only on the regional development. Religion, only on that. But however, some good points are there: digital democracy and new age of camping. Modern politics now lives in the phone, WhatsApp forwards, Instagram reels, Twitter trends, and all new tools of persuasions. Targeted campaigning via AI and big data, use of influencers, memes, and short form videos to shape public opinion. Fact checking is like a real news versus fake news is now a ideological war zone because people are now divided into two ideologies, either they are right wing or they are left wing. In 2019 election, over 60% of Indian voters were under the age of 35, a digital native audience. Now we don't just vote with ink, we vote with click, likes and share. Youth voters are less loyal to party lines and more concerned about issues like jobs, education, environment, and quality of life. Emerging trends are like decline in traditional vote bank, rise of issues-based politics, street movements like CAA and NRC protest, farmers' protest where youth played a major role. But let's not be too optimistic. Voter apathy, especially in urban areas, still remains a problem. A unique modern trends, foreign region policy is now a part of domestic campaigns. Photos with world leaders, aggressive diplomacy and global image buildings are now a vote winner at home. Example, Balakot airstrike, G20 summit success and a vaccine diplomacy all became part of domestic political narratives. Now let's just bring it to the conclusion, the road ahead. India's politics is evolving and rapidly. The future holds a blend of technology, youth power, issues-based politics and perhaps a return to collaborative government. But here's the golden rule. In politics, change is the only constant and irony is never a short supply. So whether it's the rise of religious voices, regional voices or the spread of digital noise, India's politics continues to be colorful, complex and chaotic democratic. Democracy is not just the right to vote, it's the right to live with dignity. Namoy Kallen stated it once. So let's stay informed, stay critical and above all, stay involved because in the end, politics isn't just in parliament, it is in our everyday choices. Thank you so much for watching. Jai Hind.